Can the artist's way really take me from burnt out author to bold creative in just 12 weeks? Join me week by week as I navigate my way out of the creative void. What would you do if you didn't have to do your art perfectly? What would you do if you didn't have to worry about what people think about your art and about what you've written, what you painted, what you drawn, what are you singing? What if you could do it in total freedom? Well, stay tuned and find out, because this week we're recovering our sense of connection. Okay, so let me tell you something. I had already recorded this video and silly me, I didn't turn this on. Therefore, I had like 20 minutes of me talking with no sound. And on top of that, my phone ran out of space, so I didn't even finish. Anyway, so here we are. Take 2. Let's go. Okay, so this week we focus on having the right attitude with creativity to allow us to connect to our personal dreams. In this book, Julia talks about us being able to listen for that story or that image or that painting that is going to be outside in the universe. And that our work is not so much to conjure it up in our mind, like make up the story in our mind. It's more about listening to those little prompts that are going to help us create that piece of art that we're trying to achieve. So she calls it like you have to go almost and like grab it. I guess in 2025, we're calling this I got a download. So use that topic of I got a download to use your art as opposed to, this is something that you came up with it in your head. And this is so true. She mentions that when we come up with our own ideas, as in from our mind, we get really tired. It's very straining to our body, to our soul. And honestly, this is true. I think I told you before in videos, in previous videos, that how sometimes, I have to do a lot of things, like to write a lot for work. And while that is creative, there's a part of it that it has to be very, based on legislation, based on facts and things like that. So when that happens, I am 100% like in my brain. Yes, there are parts where I do get into the zone a little bit, but it does come from my mind most of the time, and I'm finally exhausted. Whereas the time I've written a story when I feel like it doesn't come from me, where it's like divine inspiration, I'm not tired. It's quite the opposite. I am exhilarated. I'm euphoric. I'm excited. I have more energy. So I think this is how you can tell if it's something that you made up from your mind versus something that you're downloading. This chapter also talks about perfectionism. And as a recovering perfectionist, I think she was very spot on in some of the ideas that she mentioned about perfectionism. One was that it has nothing to do with getting it right. Rather, it's a refusal to move ahead. How many times or how many people do we know that sometimes they want to get everything perfect before they move on, everything perfect before they make the right decision? And I think that this ties up to the previous weeks as well, talking about giving that leap of faith and giving that step to allow other things to open. She says, the perfectionist paints or draws or writes with one eye in their audience, and instead of enjoying the process, we're just grading the results and married to the logic side of the brain. And it is so true. Like, I can tell you that when I was doing Millie in the early days, I was doing it with the eye to the audience. It's more like really scared to kind of show, I've written this. But I was trying to, I'm not saying censor because it was like a children's book, right? But trying to make sure that it was above criticism, if that makes sense. But there's no such thing. Like, art is always going to be, if it's important, it's going to be criticized. According to this book, perfectionism is a pursuit of the worst in ourselves. In fact, she gives an example of maybe if you want to be a filmmaker, of you comparing your first student film to maybe Star Wars. Like, that was not George Lucas's first movie. It was probably many of his, like, he probably did a lot of student films before. And you have to consider he had all the budget, he had the books, he had all this infrastructure that allowed him to make that movie. Whereas if you here are trying to do a movie with your phone, so it's very different. So be fair in that comparison. It's not apples to apples. The chapter also touches on jealousy and how jealousy is a little bit of a map that is going to point us in the right direction as to what are the things that we are actually probably really capable of that we're not doing. So she gives a good exercise where you have to write in one column, who are you jealous of? The next column, why are you jealous of them? And the next column is, what is the action antidote that you are going to do that? So for example, if you are jealous of Zuzi, because Zuzi, every week she goes and sings karaoke. And you're like, ugh, she thinks she's such a pop star. Oh my God, she just likes the attention of everyone. And yeah, honestly, what you have to do is just go and sing. So you can believe you're a pop star and get the attention of everyone, because that jealousy is a reflection, right? People are like our mirrors. And that thing that is triggering that jealousy is telling you you're capable of singing, or you want to sing and you're not doing anything about it because you don't dare to. You don't dare to. You're being too perfectionist. You don't think you can do it perfectly. So in my case, I just wrote, I'm jealous of Susan Collins because she wrote a trilogy about a strong female character braving the system, and basically she became a very, not Katniss, Susan became a very successful author, right? Like, even her books were made into movies. So my antidote is then sit and write, Erica. You have to sit and write. And I think even going away from that inaction to the action makes you remove that jealousy out of that person. There was also another activity where you needed to take yourself to a sacred space. It could be a synagogue, it could be a church, it could be a park, the beach, any place where you find peace. Just to go there. My mom and I went to the Queen Victoria Market here in Melbourne. And I hadn't been in such a long time. So we had a really good, exploring the stalls and like having lunch and things like that. And then on the way back, there was a church. And I'd never been, even though I used to live super close to the church. And we went there and I just, it says to sit in silence, but I didn't. I just stood in awe, and I just went to see all the paintings, went to see all the images, again, the architecture and so on. I think my favorite part was that they had this statue of Archangel Raphael. It says Saint Raphael, I don't know. But it had the statue had like a book up, and it was like the book of Tobit, which if you've read in the Bible, I think this is the book, probably is one of my favorite, but this is the book that has, I guess, kind of the background story of why Catholics believe in the guardian angel. And I don't know, I think it's like, it's a cool story. So that was my week. And now let's go for the check-in. How many days this week did you do your morning pages? Have you allowed yourself to daydream a few creative risks? Are you cuddling your artist child with childhood loves? You know how many times I did my artist pages this week? 0. None of them. None of them, because I was so tired. I think the previous 2 weeks were a bit tiring, and I just didn't have the energy to kind of like start. I had too many things in my mind that I needed to do. And I just forgot about it until midweek. And I'm like, ooh, I don't have anything. So I started doing, I think I did 0.5 pages. I started doing, I'm like, I just don't have it in me. Sorry, Julia. I failed. I just don't have it in me. And I didn't do it. And also one of the reasons was because I ran out of pages, like I finished the notebook. And you know what? I just didn't bother in just getting another one. So now I've got another one because this week I'm going to start from tomorrow for the next week. Have I allowed myself to daydream a few creative risks? Absolutely. And that's going to have to do with the next question. Am I cuddling my artist child with childhood loves? Um, Probably, but not because of this program. It's mostly because it's about to be Halloween. My kids getting dressed up and me preparing for Halloween just really feeds my inner child that was told that Halloween, that me wanting to ask for Halloween, I was gonna go to hell. So, yeah. Did you do your artist date this week? Did you use it to take any risks? What did you do and how did it feel? So, instead of telling you, why don't I show you? Okay, guys, so I am about to do my artist date. And I have to be honest with you, I'm a little bit scared because I just booked myself into a free acting class. I think they just give you the teaser and then they probably just have the 10-week program or year-long program or something. But I feel like it's one of those things like acting, improv, public speaking. It's one of those things that when I see people do it, I want to do it. But at the moment, I feel terrified of it. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to record there. I'll see if I can do a bit of a cheeky recording of the space. But yeah, I'll let you know how I go after that. I think it's a couple of hours. So yeah, wish me good luck. Oh my God, it was just so amazing. I didn't bring a notebook, right? Because I thought we were just gonna like act and play pretend and things like that. But it was, I don't know, it was like a psychology lesson, a life lesson, all in one. Even if you don't want to be an actor, I absolutely recommend people to take an acting class because it there's a lot of psychology, a lot of like embodiment of your emotions and talking about feelings and things like that, which I think that sometimes we try to push back or run away, and it's like, no, you have to run towards the feeling. I'll try to see if I can do a video. Let me know if you want me to do a video of all the notes I took because it was so good. We had an exercise where you had to go in front and then the teacher would tell you tell us a joke or something like that. So when it was my turn, he's like, oh, you need to sing the first lines and the chorus of a song. And I was like, oh my God, what song should I sing? So I couldn't think of anything. And I just quickly just reverted to Cielito Lindo, which is like the most popular Mexican song that I could think about because I was like, this is the only one that I know by heart. Like, I don't know. And the only one that I feel like I'm not gonna like mess up in terms of like, yeah, my singing. Like, I don't consider I'm good at singing. So it was really good to like be out of my comfort zone. And yeah, I met lovely people there. I just after that, I went to coffee with three of them. One of those girls is from Argentina. And yeah, we exchanged Instagrams. And I think this is the first like artist date where I actually get to like talk to other people. Like, the, I guess where I actually get to connect and exchange details with other people. So I don't know. I thought that was really good. People were there from different walks of lives. They have 10 weeks and 24 weeks and a year, all like year long courses. So yeah, I might, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. I don't know if I want to be an actor, but it certainly would help with YouTube and with talking to you guys and putting myself out there. It also gave me a lot of prompts to, if I choose to write a story, to kind of just remember about the journey and the feelings and the motivations of the act. Like, the writer has to write the piece, but then the actor has to bring their interpretation and their specifics. And I think one of the big lines that the teacher said is like, the specifics is how we connect. And I feel that is something that I need to focus more on. Like, if I write something and I make sure that the character has those specifics so people can connect with them. I'm so excited. I'm really pumped. I'm so happy I did this. Doing things that are
out of your comfort zone will definitely make your confidence grow. And I think some of the people that acted there uh, are very talented. And something that I learned from here from this group, that the teacher said, talent is always there. What we're teaching you here is technique. So sometimes you can say, "Oh my God, this person is so talented. They have so much potential." Is because that talent is there. But what they're gonna bring with the technique is that you're able to exploit that talent and to nurture it in a way that is gonna yeah, expand as opposed to um yeah, hide the talent or something like that. So yeah, I thought that was very, very awesome.
Okay, and actually this week I had two artist dates. Me and my friend went to Fashion Week, and it was a the David Jones show. It was in the street, and David Jones, if you're not in Australia, it's like a Macy's. It's like a department store. Yeah, they had the models. I think the concept was about models being haunted by the paparazzi, and they had these like photographers pretending to be photographers, like me and my friends. So I think we found the last two spots kind of in front, but it was also last two spots because there was a screen like there, but it was better being there. I am short, so it was much better to be there than being at the back, right? So I managed to take a few photos, and it kind of reminded me like I do like fashion, but I also reminded me that it's probably not something that I love doing anymore. I love thinking about anymore. After that, I was hungry and tired, and I just wanted to go home. I think doing two outings in a week for me is too much. Too many people. As an introvert, I think I can only do one. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? The only thing I experienced was an asynchronicity where I thought I had gotten free tickets to a fashion show. And then I got an email saying, "Oh, your tickets have been canceled." I'm like, no. You don't understand. I'm going to the show. This is a different show, by the way. And then I rebooked the tickets again and they got canceled again. So I emailed them and said, "Hey, I think there's a problem because my tickets keep getting canceled. Is there an issue?" And then the person replied saying, "Oh, look, there's been a glitch in the system. I think somebody did a major stuff up. And we canceled all the tickets, and now, but you can purchase them now from $69 to $200." And I was like, F no, I'm not paying for that. I feel like I've gone to paid shows where actually you get a seat, you get your goodie bag, and it's like amazing. But I feel like because I already had this for free, you see this pattern? It's like I always think I'm gonna get this thing, and then it gets taken away. Julia, what's going on? Please do a TikTok or something. Were there any issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery, and describe them? I've started to write a short story, which I think it's really cute. I literally have I've only written a little bit of pre-write work, right? Like about the characters, what do they want, what do they actually need, things like that. I'm using a book called Save the Cat, which is really good. I think if you're a writer, you need to have this book so you can refer it every time you write a story and remember like what are the parts, what are the acts, all that sort of thing. So I think that has been the greatest recovery, but also like remind myself that I don't need to overextend myself to trying to do too many activities in one week. One is enough. And sometimes trying to do too many things at once can be counterintuitive, counterproducing. You know what I mean, right? Sometimes it can be too much. It can make me slower because now I'm too tired to like start. And something I've noticed is that this has been all my life, right? But I'm more aware of it now, is that I really struggle to start something. Like starting something to me is just like I will always find an excuse to start. I'll procrastinate. At school I would do it, but then because I knew I had a deadline in 2 days, maybe I had a month to do the job, right? The assignment or whatever, but I'll do it 2 days earlier, 2 days before, because I can only work under that pressure. So I feel like I'm gonna see if there's more competitions. When there's like short story competitions and stuff, I've been able to write things because there's a deadline. Yeah, I'm feeling the urge to sit down and start writing, which is good, I think. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video is still good in comparison to the other one that got deleted. And stay tuned because next week we're recovering our sense of strength. And remember, if you like this content, you can always like, subscribe, share, do the program with me, do the program with a friend. If you want to get the book, you can get it on the link in the bio. If you want to get the other book that I mentioned, Save the Cat, you can also get it in the link in the bio. I get a small commission at no extra cost to you. Win-win. See you next week. Bye.